Can't escape the magic. By Art Fox. Chapter 14. Jafar led the way back to Sinbad's hotel room with Aladdin and Morgiana following the petite man. Masrur carried a hissing and wriggling Sinna, who was pouting and complaining of personal space and how his legs were not broken so he could walk. Thank you very much. Noct quietly followed a shell-shocked Sinbad who trailed behind the group. Occasionally, he would in his daze stray away from the group's path and Noct would gently tug on his robes to change his course. Jafar settled everyone in the room's lounge and began to hash out their plan to capture the Fog Troop. I believe they will attack the homes of the noble Holduke or the wealthy merchant Alcerus. How can you be so sure they will target these men's homes? Sinbad asked. He focused intently on the map before him on the table. Jafar tilted his head. I've been secretly releasing confidential information through the military. I suspect this is where the Fog Troop is getting the information. So they have supporters in the government? Sinbad frowned sternly as he folded his arms. Jafar nodded. Yes, it seems the Fog Troop's popularity is rising far beyond our expectations. Morgiana shifted in her seat. Sinbad looked up and locked his golden gaze onto her, giving her his full attention. If so many people do support them, should we really be after them? I wonder if they do have so many supporters, could capture them, not be right? Her voice started confident but slowly trailed off under the king's even gaze. It seems like the right thing to me. These thieves steal from nobles, public officials, and merchants. Then they distribute their loot among the common people, thus giving them the appearance of so-called chivalrous thieves. But here's how I see it. What if this behavior is just a ploy to justify their crimes, or propaganda to get people on their side? Understand? No. The Fog Troop must be brought to justice. I've truly given this a lot of thought. Sinbad's voice was calm, but deathly serious, as he outlaid his reasoning for the Fog Troop's actions. A hero only stands out in a turbulent time. A tiny voice piped up from behind the couch. Sinbad blinked and twisted around to peer over the couch. Jafar rose from his seat with a chiding sigh. Sinna, I thought I sent you and Noct to rest in the bedroom. You mean nap? I don't need a nap. I want to help. Sinna pulled his face over the couch and let Sinbad lift him the rest of the way up. He settled next to the purplet king and began discussing his own viewpoint of the Fog Troop. Jafar was struck by how similar father and son appeared right now, side by side and so serious. Sinna even crossed his arms the same way. The former assassin struggled not to go at the cute sight Sinna made, like a little general. Or a prince. Jafar corrected his thoughts. This accident of sins may actually not be the disaster I thought it could be. The Fog Troop is banking on the chaos they've stirred up turning into a national crisis. The ships have stopped coming and going, so they've succeeded in halting international trade. For a country that bases its entire economy on trade, it's a slow death sentence. The Fog Troop has stopped the Bobat trade and is now destroying the internal structure of the country. Add that to the fact that they have created such disorder and suffocation of the economy, while simultaneously making the mass public blame the government for the recession and putting themselves in the light of heroes, tells me that they do plan to topple the monarchy. And afterwards, in the chaos, the people will look to them to help them because they see the Fog Troop as heroes against a corrupt system and heroes for the people. And the Fog Troop will raise themselves to become the new ruling system of Balbad. They don't care about the people. They just want power. Sinbad's mouth was agape as he stared at the tiny boy who so clearly understood the complicated situation they found themselves in. He tossed a look at Jafar and grinned, pointing at Sin and mouthing, "Look at him! Look how smart he is!" Silently, a proud grin spread on his face. Jafar suddenly rolled his eyes at his king and his preening. His king was always such a peacock of a man, and now he would undoubtedly use Sinna as another thing to brag about. Aladdin and Morgiana stared at the child with amazed looks. Aladdin blinked in shock. Wow, Sinna, you're really smart. I guess. Sinna shrugged and pulled the map closer to him. I think Jafar, Aladdin, and I should go to the noble's house with a small group of guards, and Morgiana, Masrur, and Sinbad should stake out the merchant's house. Jafar tugged the map out of his hands with a flip. 1, you are not going anywhere with anyone tonight, and 2, why not have the gods divided equally between the two locations? Jafar could not believe that he was thinking of taking the advice of a child. Well, the Fog Troop, as you said, is attacking officials and nobles to disrupt the workings of the government. Then there is a bigger chance that they would attack the noble rather than the merchant. Sinna explained his views with a calm expression. Jafar could see an echo of Sinbad in his chin and the way he set his shoulders. It was amazing how much father and son looked alike. And because you said that the public sees them as chivalrous thieves, they don't need to attack the merchant's house. The only thing they would gain there would be more money to pass out to people who already support them, rather than the noble, where they would strike a blow to the government they are opposing. No, it's definitely going to be the noble. Cinna stared straight into Jafar's eyes with determination. Jafar could see the righteous intelligence burning in his eyes. Jafar could truly see that Cinna was indeed the son of Sinbad, the singularity. So why bother protecting the merchant at all? Why don't we all guard the nobleman's house? Sinbad queried, raising an eyebrow at the boy. No, we can't do that. If they see that all the security is at the noble's house, then they'll know their information source is compromised and might attack the merchant just because he's so unprotected. Just because we think we know their target doesn't mean we have to show it to them, Cinna argued back. Jafar was amazed at how well thought out this strategy was, coming from a 7-year-old and all. But he had a few points to push. Well, Morgiana and Masrur are our strongest fighters, so why should we put them on the merchant's house where it is unlikely to be attacked? Shouldn't we have our strongest at the nobles? Well, maybe, but if we pair Sinbad with them, it should even out, because he's the weakest. Aye, Sinbad yelped. I'm the conqueror of the 7 seas, you little brat. Shouldn't that make me the strongest? Jafar couldn't contain his giggles, while Cinna just beamed up sarcastically at Sinbad. You did lose all of your equipment, Sinbad, so... Jafar snickered at his king's gab-smacked expression. Jafar! You traitor! The advisor ignored his unhappy king and continued his tactic debate with the young boy. How about a compromise? We leave Morgiana and Sinbad at the merchant's house, like you suggest, but Masrur comes with a larger group to the nobles. No, Masrur is big, and if he's there with all the guards and the rest, it will seem too protected and the fog troop might not attack. If we want to stop them, we have to at least capture some of their main fighting force, maybe even their leader if we can manage it. Cinna kept a firm stance. He was glad to have an adult that didn't brush off his opinions or punish him for disagreeing with their view on a subject. Morgiana quickly interjected. I would prefer to be at the noble's house instead, if that's all right. Her voice was soft as she cautiously voiced her desires, something as a slave she was denied. Jafar looked at Cinna. That would work out. No offense, Morgiana, but few would see a petite young lady like yourself as a threat. Morgiana nodded unhappily to his point. Cinna reached forward to snatch a bundle of grapes from the table and popped a few as he considered it. That could work. Masrur and Sinbad at one house, and Jafar, Morgiana, Aladdin, myself, and the guards at the other. Yes, that would be perfect. Hold it, young man, Sinbad cut across Cinna. You are staying at the hotel with Noct, where it is safe. I won't allow you to go out onto a fight like this. Cinna scowled up at the larger man. Who are you to tell me to do anything, old man? My master? Sinbad jerked back aghast and disgusted at the accusation. No! Cinna fell forward to his knees in front of the boy. No, Cinna, never. You will never have a master again. I swear on my life, you won't. You are... Jafar got across him. Sinbad, perhaps we should prepare for tonight. Your time is better spent organizing the guard rotation tonight, while I deal with certain other matters. Sinbad let the lithe man pull him up and lead him out of the lavish room. Before he left, Sinbad called over his shoulder, Masrur, could you stay with the children, please? And Cinna, I promise we'll talk tomorrow. In the hallway, Sinbad scowled at his advisor. Why didn't you let me tell Cinna about me being his father? Jafar snapped. We are leaving in an hour into a potentially dangerous situation. You wouldn't have time to explain everything to him, let alone answer all of the questions he would undoubtedly have about you and his mother and where you've been and why you want him now. Sin, you can't just do that in half an hour or so. The Sindrian king bowed his head at his own foolishness. You're right, Jafar. I was just so proud of him, and when he asked if I was his master, I just couldn't... Oh no, Sin. You'll explain everything to him soon. But first we have to deal with the fog troop. You do have a point. And while I deal with the guards, what will you be doing? Jafar smiled up at his king. But it wasn't a nice smile. It was a chilling smile. A cold smile. A smile that sent a shudder running up and down Sinbad's spine. It was Jafar's assassin smile. I have some slavers to capture.